All right, now we're good to go. Thank you.
All righty, so we'll call it to order, and we'll start with the introduction of the voting members. I'm Matt Brower, I'm Chair of the State Committee. Darren?
Darren Hickling, voting member.
Erica?
Erica Goodman, voting member.
Megan, are you on?
I am Megan Hauser, voting member.
And Megan's our new member taking over for Dale. So we welcome her to the board. It's a little chaotic this morning with change in the order of the agenda and so on. So we'll keep things rolling along. Scott is not on, I believe.
That's correct.
Okay, so, and Bethany, do you want to take over with any other introductions?
Yes, I will. Really quick before we do the roll call of folks in Albany and in Syracuse. I just want to add, also want to welcome Megan to the New York State Soil and Water Conservation Committee. As Matt said, Megan was recently appointed to the at-large farm interest position, taking over for Dale Stein, who stepped down from that position. Megan resides in Wyoming County and has been in the dairy business for over 20 years. She's also been very active on ag advisory boards and several other community organizations. So very fortunate to have you with us, and thank you for making the commitment to not only the committee, but to soil and water conservation districts across the state.
Thanks. Looking forward to working with you and learning a lot, I believe.
For sure. So moving on with introductions, I'll introduce myself. I'm Bethany Bizdu. I'm the Executive Director of our New York State Soil and Water Conservation Committee. You can go next, PJ.
Good morning. My name is PJ Emmerich, and I'm the Region 2 Associate Environmental Analyst for the State Committee for the 11 counties in the Finger Lakes region.
And how about we go through the room in Albany?
Sure thing, I'll get started. Brian Steinmuller, Assistant Director for the Division of Land and Water Resources of the Department of Agriculture and Markets.
Jennifer Clifford, Sierra Program Manager.
Tim Clark, Engineer for the State Committee.
Melissa Gordon, Administrative Assistant.
Jason Coquinos, Ag Point Source Manager.
Tim Sheldon, Associate Fellow for the Department.
I think that's all of us here, Bethany.
All right, thank you very much. So I will move forward with a roll call of the other advisory members who may have joined us online. Do we have anyone from Cornell Cooperative Extension?
Good morning, Dan Welch, Executive Director for Cornell Cooperative Extension of Cayuga County.
Good morning, Dan. How about Cornell Cales?
Good morning. I'm filling in for Brian Rahm today, Julie Suarez.
Morning, Julie.
Nice to see everyone.
How about CDEA?
Good morning, Jessica Armstrong, CDEA Vice President and Oneida County Soil and Water District Manager.
Good morning. DEC?
Billy Capola here from New York State DEC.
Morning, Tony Giacomo, also here for DEC.
Good morning. How about Department of Health?
Good morning, Paul Kaczmarzyk and Morgan Tarbar.
Good morning.
And we're with the Bureau of Water Supply Protection in DOH.
Good morning. Department of State? Okay, how about SUNY ESF? And NRCS?
Good morning, everyone. Jeremy Collier from NRCS Partnerships.
Good morning. Okay, so we'll move on and do a quick roll call of any of our state committee staff who might be joining virtually. So bear with me. Ben Luskin,
Yep, Ben Luskin, Region 5 Coordinator.
Brendan Jordan,
Hi, good morning, everyone. Brendan Jordan, CNMP Specialist with the State Committee.
Chastity Miller,
Good morning, everybody. Chastity Miller. I'm the AEM Base Coordinator.
Greg Albrecht,
Morning, everybody. Greg Albrecht, Principal Environmental Analyst with Ag and Markets and the State Committee, and work with the team on all things related to the AEM framework and associated programs.
Ron Bush,
Good morning, Ron Bush, CNMP Specialist.
Victor DiGiacomo,
Good morning, Victor Giacomo, State Committee Field Staff for Western New York.
all right, did I miss any of our state committee staff who are on the line? Perfect. And then I would just like to extend a very warm welcome to all of the Soil and Water Conservation District representatives who have joined us this morning, as well as any farmers or members of the public who have decided to participate today. Please feel free to enter your name and your affiliation into the chat for the record. That wraps up introductions, Matt.
Okay, we will move on to the review and approval of the minutes. Is there any discussion or questions concerning the minutes? If not, motion to approve.
So moved. Second.
Okay, we got a motion second, so we'll go to voting. Darren?
Aye.
Erica?
Aye.
Megan?
Aye.
And aye for me as well. We're changing the order on the agenda. We're gonna go to the round 9 CRF RFP discussion.
Thank you. So
Wait, oh, hold on one moment. So, because this is an approval of an RFP, we are going to have to establish, I guess, because we're in mainly a virtual setting, establish some breakout rooms. So it will just be the folks in Albany, the voting members, and us here in Syracuse. If there is anyone in Albany that is from a district or a farmer or member from the public, we do have to ask you to recuse yourself. So please, everybody else, just hang on the line for a few moments, and then we will come back together for the remainder of the meeting. And bear with me as I work through assigning the breakout rooms. Hold on. Sorry, folks, almost there. Okay. Let's see. Here we go.
It's pretty impressive.
Oh, no, and everybody's.
Hey Bethany, can you hear me from my computer? No. Not.
I'm not sure why 10B, it wasn't available on the screen for the breakout room. So, as long as we can see Matt, particularly Jennifer, so I can share the screen for the
Could slide
slides.
myself for the meeting.
There's Matt.
I won't be in the breakout room now. I don't need to see the slides. I can just present if you can hear me.
Okay, well, I'll put up the slides anyway. For
Yes.
folks
Yes, please do.
who can see it, and then, all right, are we seeing a presentation on the screen?
Yeah, just on the computer, but that's
Computer,
okay,
yeah.
right?
Okay. Yep, that's fine.
Okay.
Okay, so last meeting, we had notified that the
Well, Bethany, one other question here. Are we just coming in through the computer then, right? Our audio through the TV is not in this room?
Yeah, it looks like you're just coming in through your computer.
So you can hear Jennifer okay? Because I'm gonna mute the other one.
check and sit by
Correct, yes.
Okay.
Thanks for hanging on, folks. We were done with that breakout session, so we're just going to give it a couple minutes for folks to leave the session and come back so we can continue on through our committee agenda. Appreciate everybody's patience and adjustment to the change in the agenda.
So I guess maybe way down the road. Hey.
Yeah. Yeah.
Way down the road, maybe.
Yeah, we'll talk more about the impacts of that and the round date update.
Yeah.
Looks like we have all of the voting members back at this time. So I think we're okay.
Okay, then we'll go to the correspondence.
So correspondence, we have received a number of periodicals and newsletters, annual reports at our office from districts across the state. As always, those are really great publications and highlight some really awesome projects of districts. So we appreciate that you guys keep sending them and putting them out there and allowing us the opportunity to use all your photos and highlight your projects in various press releases and the state committee annual report. But that is it in terms of correspondence. The other thing, I guess, in the same agenda item that I wanted to share was an overview of the fiscal year 2025-26 Environmental Protection Fund budget, which was approved early in May. Because at our last meeting in April, we weren't able to report on that, and so I'm really happy to be able to share that the budget for fiscal year 25-26 was approved, and that includes a budget for the Environmental Protection Fund, which that is the fund or the portion of the New York State budget that supports most of the programs that the state committee administers. This year, the overall Environmental Protection Fund was increased from 400 million to 425 million within the EPF enacted budget. It's also super exciting to announce that all of our funding lines that support our state committee programs received increases in appropriation. And this, again, just is a testament to the work that soil and water conservation districts do and demonstrates a continued support, the state's continued support for natural resource conservation. So a couple of highlights from the budget. As we were just talking about, the climate resilient farming line was increased. It received a $4.25 million increase to a total of $19.5 million. That does include a $500,000 carve out for the Cornell Soil Health Program, as well as a $500 carve out to maintain forest and woodlands. Fortunately, with that particular carve out, we are able to roll it into our overall offering that we're able to put out there for the climate resilient farming program. So that money does go out to farms by way of soil and water conservation districts. The agricultural non-point source pollution control projects line of the EPF, which supports our agricultural environmental management program, as well as the agricultural non-point source pollution program, received a $1 million increase from 17.5 million to 18.5 million. We also only have one carve out through that line item, which is $250,000 for Cornell Pesticide Management Education Program. The Farmland Protection Program, which is not administered by the State Soil and Water Conservation Committee, but by our folks in our Ag Protection Unit, which is part of our Division of Land and Water Resources, received a $4 million increase to 25 million. Um, the Ocean and Great Lakes line item of the EPF, which supports our ecosystem-based management program, also received an increase to $24.6 million. The Water Quality Improvement Program, which is administered by the Department of Environmental Conservation, but something that soil and water conservation districts will regularly apply to. That also received an increase to $25.3 million. And lastly is the Soil and Water Conservation District line. This is a really important line in the Environmental Protection Fund. It supports our district aid or state aid to districts program, which supports district operation costs, provides funding to implement conservation projects and programs. It also, provides funding to districts who, meet performance measures. This year, that line was increased to $18 million. So with this increase to state aid, districts that receive the full Part A reimbursement, which is $60,000, the full Part B funding, which is $6,000, and meet all of the performance measures identified through the program could receive approximately $306,000, which is pretty amazing. And I'm really looking forward to continuing to working with districts and working to grow that particular line item of the EPF. Any questions or comments?
If there's no questions or comments on that, then Bethany, we'll move on to the topics and ideas for the July meeting.
Yes, all right, very good. So as folks hopefully are aware, we are working on putting together a state committee meeting to be held on July 15th and 16th. On the actual meeting will take place on the Cornell campus in Ithaca, New York. And followed by, on the second day, we're going to be working with the Tompkins County Soil and Water Conservation District for them to host a conservation project tour. So what I wanted to do, spend a little bit of time today hearing from all of you, if you had any thoughts or ideas on particular topics that you'd like to include, or if you would want to potentially include on the agenda for July. We had attempted to put this type of a meeting together last year in October. It just, didn't work out for scheduling reasons. But, back at the end of last year, I had worked up some potential agenda topics that we maybe wanted to consider including. Those were to hear project updates from folks at the Cornell College of Ag and Life Sciences, particularly on some of the projects that they've been working on that might be applicable to soil and water conservation districts. Potentially including some time on the agenda to hear from Cornell Water Resources Institute and hear more about the Cornell Local Roads Program. Because while districts are very much involved and very critical to agriculture, they also play a pretty significant role working in the non-ag realm on stormwater management and erosion control issues. So we considered including some time on the agenda to hear from those folks, as well as hearing from Cornell Small Farms Program. Those were the ideas we were kind of batting around last year for October, and we can still consider them for our July meeting, but I wanted to hear from all of you. And since Julie's on the line, I've been working with her and Brian Rom to secure some meeting space. So I greatly appreciate everybody on your end helping us to find some space on campus, and look forward to working with you to kind of draft up some topics and put this meeting on.
I can just add, we're really excited to host the group on campus. We've been looking forward to this for a while, and I'm just glad to see everybody come. You know, I also think we probably want to see if we can get Corinne Ketterings and her group to talk about some of the on-farm nitrogen and phosphorus reduction trials that we've been doing, because I think there's a strong connection between some of the greenhouse gas and water quality work that she does that helps districts too. So I just add Q to the agenda if I can, and just really open to ideas and super excited to welcome the group.
I agree, Julie. That's what I was going to suggest.
Go ahead. Go ahead, Megan. You do have.
I was just echoing what Julie said. That was going to be my suggestion, is getting together with Kieran.
Yeah. I was just going to say a couple thoughts. One, the local roads thing I think is a good topic, because I know when I was with Ag Markets, we got a lot of calls about towns wanting to limit the road by farms because of the heavy equipment and so on. It would be good to kind of get an update maybe on that. There was discussions on how to handle that issue. I know in Herkimer County, for example, the farm was being forced to take a major detour because the one road was being essentially shut down for their use. And at the time, you know, the original thought from the highway superintendent is we don't want to talk about it. That's what we're doing, and so be it. And but now I think, you know, we did end up having a very good discussion about it. We brought in and I can't remember his name from Cornell on local roads, but he came in and participated in a discussion about, you know, some of the problems and some of the solutions and so on. So I think that's a good topic to, if we can include that on the agenda. I like the thought of a discussion by the, you know, any research or any projects with small farms. And the other one that may fit in with that, or maybe another topic that I think, particularly given this year and the weather conditions, I found that the use of high tunnels has been pretty beneficial to small farms. And so if there's any research going on at Cornell with high tunnels and management and so on, that might be a good topic to add as well, possibly. So that's my thoughts on it.
At the end of June, I know ProDairy is going to visit the Kirk Center, the Cornell University Ruminant Center. Julie, is that something that's worthwhile for us to put on? I don't know if this is usually set up as a meeting where we go to a space, or do we actually tour things, or how that is usually looked at.
I think I'm going to defer that question to Bethany, but just say we're open to any and all ideas that you want to share. Probably want to have our soil health team, Joseph Anselli, come give the group an update too. But I'm happy to work with Bethany and Brian and Greg and the team to really develop a good, thoughtful agenda in a day.
Sorry, I was muted. I would say in the past, we've had more of a, just kind of a meet in one space and then hear a lot of presentations. But also we haven't been to the Cornell campus in quite a few years. So it might be good to kind of start with a more sit-down meeting with presentations. And then if there's an opportunity to tour something, that might be a good addition as well.
We can maybe go to the pyrolysis unit at Leland Lab. That's always super interesting. I don't know who's from Cayuga County, but this is our on-farm pyrolysis trial with Doug Young that people have probably heard about. This is our campus unit. That might be of interest too. But I'm open to anything. I just want to accommodate the group's desires, if that makes sense. There's always lots of things to see.
Any other thoughts on it? And certainly if anybody comes up with something following this meeting, shoot it off to Bethany and they can look into the possibility of adding it to the agenda.
I think another topic that we were also considering or talking about, and I might not characterize this 100% correctly, but I think we were working on or considering a presentation from folks who are working on the emissions inventory or something of that nature. Jenny Wright and
Peter.
folks who've been working on
Bethany, I'm
that
gonna be
project.
careful how I say this, but that may not be possible depending upon the timing. You know, Peter and Jenny have been very negatively impacted by the dissolution of the Climate Smart Partnerships grant, so I'll need to check in with them, but I will just only say that would be a to be determined. Have to see where we are.
Okay.
Another topic, Bethany, possibly, if we need, since the agroforestry thing is sort of new and there is some interest in that, if there's some research going on at Cornell with that possibly, that would be kind of an interesting, different topic, I guess, for discussion.
Yeah, so that's actually in our small farms team. So Connor
Okay.
Youngman is a relatively newer staff person and he can talk about agroforestry work. It's kind of new to me too, but that would be fun too. I love all these ideas. I think we could spend like 2 days.
Absolutely.
Definitely not enough time to get it through all of them.
You think we're set with that, Bethany, or?
I think we've got a pretty good list, but just to echo what you said, if anybody has any other thoughts that maybe we should consider, please feel free to email me, and that goes for all of our advisory members or our Soil and Water Conservation District partners. If there's a topic you'd like us to consider, please let me know.
All right, very good. I think we are ready to move on to the agricultural non-point source pollution abatement control program, aren't we?
Sure. Okay, so there are no amendments for your consideration this month. No amendments.
That's good.
Next month, we got one already yesterday. Program update. I'll start with our current round. It'll be round 30. As a reminder, this was released in December of 2024 and then closed up in late February of 2025. Through the spring, we did eligibility and completeness scoring. The reviewers did their scoring across agencies, analysis of those scores. And then just yesterday, we had our post-review meeting of the 4 different scoring agencies where we met together to discuss the review of this round and widely disparate scores. We had good discussion and debate across scoring agencies. Some participating agencies are on the line now, so thanks for your help, everybody. Our next step going forward with round 30 is we will be ready to have a ranked list ready for state committee approval in June of next month. And thereafter, we can start issuing awards based on the available funding we have. Remember, that's $25 million, but split between the 2 tracks. Plus, there may be some left over for partial awards that maybe fit into that ranked list. After the June state committee meeting, our next steps, our state committees start putting together plans of work, those that have been awarded. Your AEA will reach out soon after with award letters. Once you get your award letters, start bringing your plan of works. And then in our shop, we put together the procurement record. This is the comptroller's review of the round and the funding, make sure it was dispersed correctly into state regulations. So we expect executed contracts late winter into spring of 2026 at current projection. Things are always in motion and there's a lot out of our control, but if we had to ballpark it, we would say late winter to spring of 26 this year. So that is what's going on with round 30. And while round 30 is being built out and awarded, we are also producing round 31. Is it okay if I move to the timeline for round 31, or are there any questions on our current round?
Yeah, any questions on the current? Okay, we'll move on to 31.
Perfect. So in your meeting materials, we gave you our snapshot of round 31, and I will go through all the bullet points. There's, maybe a couple dozen there of steps through the way. But ones I wanted to highlight was that in June of this year, of course, we're going to bring round 31 for your consideration. So what we're planning to do for next round, the changes for you guys to look at, and then we'll come to you for approval of that RFP in July. So state committee can get feedback for a month, and we can work with you guys offline in those weeks between the two meetings to implement your suggestions for round 31. We plan to release the RFP in October of 2025. Proposals will be due then in mid-December of 2025. We will go through the scoring and criteria review, like I just explained, through the winter and spring, and then we'll have anticipated a ranked list in April of 2026 for round 31, and projecting out as best we can, fully executed contracts the following winter. So that is our snapshot for round 30 and round 31, and business as usual for existing rounds 23 through 29. Closeouts are coming in, and we are processing return funds and claims as they come.
Very good. Any questions concerning round 31 schedule?
I just want to say real quick, on the closeout front, I sign off on the final claims for payments and return funds. And I just want to thank you, Jason, for how well you've been able to organize those files and provide a snapshot of the information. In addition to the very large voluminous packets of closeout material, it's really been a pleasure to review, and also hats off to districts too, getting a lot of projects done. Really great projects in the field, and photographs coming in of completed projects. So it's one of the more fun activities I get to do to kind of continue to stay engaged. So thank you.
And I'll just
All right.
add one comment, which is just kind of a general comment about all of our program timelines. And it's just I guess just a reminder that while we try really, really, really hard to stick to our timelines, they are tentative and subject to change. So I guess just it's important to kind of keep that in the back of your mind as well, that sometimes things are just outside of our control and things get pushed back. But I think Jason put together a really nice and achievable timeline that we can hopefully stick to for this next round of ag non-point source funding.
If there's no other comments or discussion, we will move on to the climate resilient farming program.
Sounds good, thank you. Sorry, I was waiting for the pause.
Gotcha.
Okay. Round 8, so I will just update first. I'll say that, so round 8 contracts are already being reviewed, and council has already approved 18 of the contracts that we've sent down so far. And those are moving to districts already. So that is some great news. Next slide, please. But the bigger update I'm providing on round 8 is how we are going to cover the federal funding loss as the USDA Partnership for Climate Smart Commodities grant that we included in round 8 has been canceled. So the funds that we had awarded in track 1B and track 3B for cover and flare projects and soil health projects that were going to be federally funded are going to be covered by state resources. We did receive approval from Chamber to utilize state funds to cover that federal funding loss. And we are currently seeking approval from Department of Budget and the Office of State Comptroller to amend round 8 to use those state resources to cover that federal funding loss. Next slide, please. Next slide. Oh, thank you. So this is the plan that staff has put forward to cover that federal funding loss. Track 1B was awarded to 4 farms for manure storage cover and methane flare projects. That was totaling just over 10 million. So the funding awards for that track will be covered by using a combination of the 2017 Clean Water Infrastructure Act funding and the state fiscal year 24-25 EPF funding for the CRF line item. So the Clean Water Infrastructure Act funding was being utilized for a CAFO storage program. So that the leftover funds from that will be utilized to cover track 1B, and then some of the funding from state fiscal year 24-25 for CRF will be included in that to cover the total 10 million for track 1B. Track 3B awarded to 51 farms for soil health management totaled 6.8 million. Those awards will be covered from unencumbered available funding from previous years, with the majority made up from the state fiscal year 24-25 EPF line item for CRF. So we do have some return funding from projects that canceled and or returned funds came in under budget. So some of that funding will be utilized to cover track 3B, and then additionally the rest will be covered utilizing the 24-25 EPF CRF line item to make up the remaining funds for that. So all of the projects that were slated to be federally funded in round 8 will be covered by state resources. Next slide, please. So this just shows what those original funding sources were, and then what the new funding sources are, highlighting track 1B and 3B, which were the federally funded previously climate smart commodities grants. So that means that around the funding that the state fiscal year 24-25 funds that were previously going to be used for round 9 will be used mostly to cover the federal funding loss, and then state fiscal years 24-25 and 25-26 will make up round 9. That's all I had for.
Okay. Anyone have any questions or comments?
Yeah, I guess I just have a comment, a couple of comments. One, you'll see there were the 3B soil health projects utilizing EPF, and because soil health practices are not bondable, did limit our options available to fund those projects. So that is why you see the majority there of EPF funding the 3B projects. And we are able to use the Clean Water Infrastructure Act, repurpose those funds to cover the manure storage cover and flare projects, as they are bondable structural practices and completely in line with the intent of the funding that we were diverting from the CAFO Enhanced Nutrient Management and Methane Program. So I'd say that none of these decisions came lightly, but we really did have to consider that, these projects were ready to go. There was commitment from the farmers, and that, canceling them at this point did not make a lot of sense, and just asking them to reapply for future rounds where we already had award letters and awards made. So just really gratitude to the department to help us through this, as well as the governor's office, and we hope for a speedy approval from Division of Budget and the comptroller's office, to make these modifications.
Yeah, I'm happy myself that the changes were able to be made, and I don't think there's anything more disappointing than being told you're going to get some money and then you don't. So I think the farmers would have, if we'd had to back out, on projects that we approved, I think it would have been a huge disappointment for them. So I think this is really a positive thing that everything could be worked out and no one lost on it really.
Lost a little bit of time. right?
Yeah, but dollar-wise,
Right.
that's the key, I think.
Thank you.
So, any other comments
yeah.
or questions?
Do the recipients know that that's what's happening with the funds? Have they been aware of this delay? And do they know that the state is acting to make sure that the funding still goes through even with the lack of federal support?
Our last direct communication with them was that we were working on what next steps were. We have not yet directly communicated that we are going to cover with state funding because we are still waiting for some approvals, but we can now make that communication with those districts that we are going to move forward with those projects as of right now, not canceling them.
Okay, it seems important that they know that the state is making this decision to support agriculture and the standards that we would like to see happening in agriculture. I think it'd be important to know that the state is kind of stepping up and filling in this gap, and that the federal government decided not to fill it.
Yes, we will absolutely be notifying them of the next steps for their contracts. Yes.
I will only say, if I can jump in from a Cornell College of Agriculture and Life Sciences perspective, the cancellation of the Partnership for Climate Smart Agricultural Grants has a really negative implication for us and our people and our staff, and on our ability to do the MMVR work that we were really excited on doing for districts and for farmers. So I'm really happy, don't ever take my words incorrectly, that farmers will be made whole. I think that's absolutely 100% critical. I'm also really sad that the people impacts at Cornell Cals are going to be quite devastating. And I will simply say that I was looking forward to making sure that we could redo Comet Planner to be New York appropriate, Northeast appropriate, give the districts, give the state ag and markets department better tools to really know what our greenhouse gas emissions reductions in mitigation and sequestration were, and so that you could have a better tool. I'm really sad that that's not going to occur. And I just say that we're committed as a college to try to figure out a new pathway forward. But the impacts are pretty severe, and I think people need to be aware of that.
Yeah.
So that's all I will say.
Without a doubt.
Yeah, the loss of that work is quite devastating. Thank you, Julie. That's we haven't talked much about that grant, but the loss of it, but it is big. It was a big win to get that grant, and losing it is just that big of a loss. So it is great that we will not have to cancel these projects, but there is a lot of other great work that was under that grant that is not going to be done now, and that's sad.
At some point, we're going to need to have a more accurate tool to be able to prove the MMVR strategies that we're employing as a state, and I hope someday to figure that out.
Yeah.
Agreed.
Jennifer and Brian, just to circle back to Megan's question, it was sort of briefly mentioned. We've gotten, approval from the chamber, but there's a very, specific step to submit a funding request with the renewed plan that Jennifer has on the screen to New York State's Division of Budget for their approval. So I think, if and when we get that approval, that's when it can be, more press release type material, and those points that you made could be important points that you made could be made apparent.
Sure, that totally makes sense, Greg. I just was hoping that something like that was going to happen so that farmers understand how they're being made whole.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yep.
We've addressed individual questions and concerns and really, positive encouragement and thoughts that came through from our districts over this time. right? So the cancellation of this program came mid-April, but it was effectively paused back, from January of 25. So there's been a lot of time and some correspondence back and forth. Nobody really quite knew what the impacts would be and when we would, have answers. But, we have been able to communicate with districts throughout this process, certainly when approached and encouraged also that they wanted us to keep moving forward with these projects. So I look forward to that opportunity to more officially correspond with districts and with the farms on the steps moving forward.
Any other thoughts or comments? If none, we will move on to the SUNY SWCD survey response and discussion.
Do you have any other updates for
Nope.
that?
No. I'm all set, thank you.
Yep. Bethany, you discussing the survey, I assume?
Yes, so let me just pull up what I sent out. Bear with me here. Okay, so I guess apologies, I didn't put together a fancy slideshow to go over these survey results, but I wanted to take some time this month to kind of go through the results. Just as a recap of what we have worked on over the past couple of months. I think it was at the end of last year sometime, we opportunistically set up a meeting with representatives from the SUNY Provost office to talk about some of the challenges soil and water conservation districts are having with hiring staff and finding candidates that are ready to step into the work of a soil and water conservation district or just the conservation field in general. So, as part of the mission of the state committee is we're trying to help districts grow their staff capacity and grow their staff numbers so they can continue to do, all the great work, out there that they're already doing, but and then some. So, as a follow-up to one of the meetings we had with the SUNY folks was that they were looking for some additional information to get a better sense of how districts interact with the SUNY school system. And, they were looking for some kind of background information on what are some of the requirements and skill sets that are needed for soil and water conservation district positions. So we put together a survey, shout out to Chastity Miller, who actually drafted it and sent it and coordinated all the responses. But we put a survey out that was designed to collect information from the county soil and water conservation districts to determine, how they are currently interacting with SUNY schools and to assess district staffing needs and the challenges that they're experiencing. This survey was sent to all 58 districts that we have in the state, and we received 23 responses, so just shy of 50%. And what I did in this document, which was sent out in advance to our voting members and will be included in the meeting minutes, I summarized most of the responses that we got. So the questions, the survey started out with just some questions about requirements for technical or district technician positions. So we asked districts if they require a certain degree, if they require applicants to have an associate's, a bachelor's, etc. In response to that question, it was kind of a split between district technician positions require either an associate's degree or a bachelor's degree. If an applicant doesn't have a degree, we also wanted to get a better sense of, well, how many years of experience are our districts looking for when they're looking to hire a technician who might not have a degree. So 4 of our respondents said, 2 years of experience. 2 of our respondents said 3 years, and so forth. We had a couple of other comments, that were more narrative comments that were provided to this question. One responded that, they must have a degree in order to apply an associate's degree or higher in an applicable field, or, like the bottom comment, any equivalent combination of training and experience, as defined by the limits of the job position. Oops. So then we tried to get a little bit more information on, if an applicant had, per the specific degrees, if an applicant had like an associate's degree, is there years of experience required? These are the responses that we got. Same with, if they're required to have a bachelor's degree, is there years of experience requirement? In this particular question, most of our respondents said, no, if they have a bachelor's degree, they don't require any years of experience. Especially like at the bottom comment, you could see there, especially if the major is in a relevant field. So after collecting some background information on, what kind of years of experience, what degrees districts are looking for, we started to get into, well, what type of, course of study or major are or is most important for a district technician position. So in response to this particular question, the top 3 responses were a natural resources degree. 20 of our respondents, responded that is a highly, very important area of study. Environmental science and agriculture. Those were all the top 3 responses. Some other, in the other category, districts were allowed to kind of just type in narrative responses. So we got soils, urban planning, fisheries or wildlife management, knowledge of silviculture and hydrology or GIS. I thought this was a really interesting question myself, just, thinking back on, the one meeting that we had with folks from SUNY Provost's office. They talked about potentially having the ability to design these little, and I forget the exact term, but like micro degrees or certificates in particular, focus area. And I kind of thought this was an interesting question from that perspective. We can look at the top 3 responses. So that's the kind of the type of degree, I guess, that districts might be looking for. But maybe this is a good question or a good source of information if, SUNY wanted to put together like, or consider like the little micro degrees or these certificates. I'm sure an applicant that if they're able to get a certificate in GIS or, well, that was the main one that came to my mind, but, would make them more of an eligible candidate over someone else that maybe did not. GIS is, becoming such a relevant or is a very relevant part of soil and water district work. So I kind of thought that question was interesting from that perspective. We also asked if there were any experience requirements for a district technician position. So if someone was applying to or applying for a district technician position, what experience is required. The top 3 responses here were soils experience, surveying experience, and experience with agriculture. There's also a lot of really great, other comments added. Again, GIS was called out. Having experience with GIS is really important, and in some cases required if you want to apply for a district technician position. Any combination of fieldwork and environmental-based education programs, workshops, a willingness to work. I thought that was a really great comment that a district added in there. And any of those listed in that 6 bullet down soils, forestry, surveying, those are all great comments and things to consider. A similar question we asked, rather than required experiences, we were asking if there's a preferred but not required experience for district technician positions. And some of the top responses were soils, experience with wetlands, forestry, and again, agriculture. I think just to reiterate what I already said, these are really good questions just from the standpoint of if we can find a way to work, within the SUNY system to come up with these maybe add-ons to a bachelor's degree or an associate's degree that might make a prospective or a graduating student more marketable to a soil and water conservation district. I think this information is really, really relevant and interesting. Next question, just ask districts to I guess let us know what is most important when they're considering hiring staff. Is it the degree, work experience, course study? Most of the respondents in this question answered that work experience is actually, most important. But again, some of the other comments I think were very relevant as well. Question 10 was another one that I found really interesting, looking over the responses to the question was, are there any qualities or qualifications that you as a soil and water district look for when hiring a district technician? A lot of these comments spoke to, looking for someone with a good work ethic, an interest in continuing to learn, demonstrated work experience. But there was a comment in here about people who can show up on time, stay off their phone, work a full 8-hour day. And that got me thinking when I was looking at these comments. We are, I guess, in a different, very digital age where we are all very tied to our phones and do a lot of things on our phone, even relative to work. I mean, we text, we communicate with coworkers and through email on our phones. So it got me thinking about, I don't know if this is necessarily a project to work on specifically with SUNY, but maybe there's a way we can kind of adapt to use that as a strength, or as, to our advantage. If we're all always on our phones, maybe there's different apps that we can develop for soil and water conservation districts to be able to use out in the field. Maybe we can put our AEM tier worksheets on an app that they can fill out when they're out on a farm or something. I don't know. I mean, if they're going to have it on them, might as well try and use it to our advantage. It was also just on another meeting regarding the Great Lakes Action Agenda. And Victor DiGiacomo, I don't think he's on anymore, but he brought this to my attention as well. There's a great tool that's being developed, and I forget by who, but where it's an app on your phone, but you can document flood instances. And if you're out in the field and you see flooding, you can take pictures and it tracks all the geolocated information, and it uploads it. Just neat tools like that that might ultimately help in emergency declarations or stuff like that. I was just that comment there got me thinking, and I was wondering if there's different ways that we as a state committee could work on some different tools that might, I don't know, use the whole, folks are on their phone all the time to our advantage type of thing. So that kind of wrapped up our questions, I guess, specific to, districts actually when they're looking to hire technicians. And then we got into asking districts about internships. And at our last meeting in April, we heard from a couple of districts who use interns all the time and have been very successful in it. So, trying to gather more information about those programs so that we can kind of promote them broader to other soil and water districts to get folks out there kind of experiencing what the work is like and experiencing what it is to work for a soil and water conservation district, to hopefully get them interested and want to apply for a position with a district. So of our 23 respondents, 78% of them said they have a district internship program. 17.4% said no. The remainder said maybe. And so, if you were a district that responded yes to the previous question, we wanted to know a little bit more about how they hire interns. And it was kind of a split around mainly they're able to hire interns through, advertisements. Then they utilize, relationships with colleges and universities to hire those interns. And then various other means, social media posts, word of mouth, career fairs, which, I know our Conservation District Employees Association partners have been very active in getting out to as many career fairs at colleges as possible. So that's just another way to get the word out there about soil and water conservation districts. We asked what degree or experience is required for an intern. Most just said, no degree, required. But, maybe if they're working on a degree in a relevant field, that would be important. Should have a valid driver's license, that sort of stuff. And we asked, what time frame do you hire interns for? Most of the respondents said, 3 months, which I gotta assume that is, throughout the summer. A couple hire them for longer, and also many of our, folks who filled this out said it can be flexible based on the needs of the particular intern, and they're willing to work with that individual or those individuals. And we got some information about what interns are typically hired for. These are all just the various responses that we got. A lot of times districts are hiring interns to perform work out in the field, such as hydro seeding, conducting culvert assessments, doing invasive species management and inventorying, soil sampling, etc. Buffer stewards. I know there's the Upper Susquehanna Coalition of Soil and Water Districts utilizes interns to do a lot of tree plantings and do some stewardship work on repairing buffers to keep those buffers being successful. So our last few questions, we wanted to get a better sense of how districts are engaging with colleges and universities. So 69% of our respondents said they do work with, a college or university in some capacity. And a lot of times that is to hire interns, but also districts will often be going to colleges or universities and conducting presentations for classes, or providing assistance to a college student for a capstone project or recommendations for a capstone project. Again, career fairs are another way that districts are out there engaging with our colleges in New York State. And I won't go through all these, but we had a lot of great just other narrative kind of explanations to that in response to that question. Oops, sorry, I went a little too far. We asked if a district is going out to do presentations at colleges and universities, what is it that you are out there talking about? Here are the various responses we got. Anything from, basic district information, history of a soil and water district, to water quality research, district programs, introduction to soil and water, ecological restoration, hydrology, riparian buffer restoration, ag BMPs, and how they can help to protect water quality, presentations on environmental career opportunities. It's kind of a wide-ranging list that districts are out there providing. Oh, geez. We wanted to know how districts if they are working with a college or university to advertise positions or internships, what specifically, like what platform they're using. A lot of districts have been using the Handshake platform or working directly with professors to get the word out about available internships to their interested students, direct emailing, or sending a posting directly to the college. And then we wanted to get a better sense of what colleges districts are actually working with. So here's a whole list, that we got from all of our respondents on the colleges that they've been working with across the state. And I won't go through all of these, but we did wrap up the survey with just an opportunity for districts just to provide additional comments. So if you haven't read through those, please do, because some of them are really interesting. And I think it just it gives not only us, I guess, a better sense of what districts are experiencing out there when they're looking to hire someone, or what they're experiencing when trying to build an internship program within their district. And, a couple of these questions provide some pretty good insight into the challenges that they're experiencing as well. So I guess the next step for us at this point, because I have not done it yet, would be to provide this summary to those folks that we met with at the SUNY Provost's office, allow them to digest it, and then set up a following meeting to see if there's anything that we can do to move any of this stuff forward.
I've got just a couple of thoughts on it, Bethany. One that I find interesting is the one question asked if the district were hiring interns, where were they coming from? And I was surprised that a lot of it came from advertisements, not so much through the college and university. There's 36% through the college and university program. But then the other question was, does districts work with colleges and universities? And 69% said yes. I think internships are really great. It helps kids decide what they do and don't want to do. And it also, I think, gives employer an opportunity to really get a feel for whether it's someone they want to hire or not. And so I think that's great. And we hired we had a student that was attending BOCES. He was actually doing a forestry program and had to do, I think, a 20-hour internship before he graduated. And we hired him to work on the farm because that's what he wanted to try. And he's, within 20 hours, we could figure out he was a good worker. He was a good kid. And I've been trying to encourage him to go on to school, but he's not ready to yet. But I think there's an opportunity there with the BOCES programs. They have vet tech programs. And one thing I found from working with high school kids a lot is that most of them don't know what they want to do.
Yeah.
And so I think the BOCES, if there's a way for districts to reach out and work with them more, I think there's an opportunity there maybe for internships and also to just hire some summer help and give them a taste of what it is working with districts. Maybe it's something they want to pursue. So that's just a couple thoughts I had on it. But I think if we could reach the high school, the FFA programs is another place where districts might be able to find some high school kids to hire part-time and see how it works. And maybe then they would go on and pursue a degree in a particular field. So I think internships with colleges and through BOCES would be, the more we can encourage that, work on that, the better.
I don't remember what question it was in response to, but I do remember reading one of the comments. A district responded that they are actually working with their local BOCES to develop an ag program.
Yeah, I did see that. Yeah.
I'm gonna have to go back and look at who wrote that because I'm interested to hear more.
Yeah.
Yeah, and I know our local high school is just starting an ag program there, and they're hoping to form an FFA chapter. But of course, not many of them are going to be farmers. I think that's kind of the reality of it, is that they're going to do something maybe related to agriculture, but they're not going to be farmers. So if we can tap into that, and I think get people that are interested in working for the district, maybe.
Yeah, so many of the respondents said work experience was extremely important, and somebody brand new to the workforce, it's the internships, it's the experiential learning from BOCES, that's where the work experience comes from. So it's really important, I think, to expand on those opportunities.
I think it's great that you're rather than just complaining about the lack of people to work, which is generally what happens in these situations, that you've taken this step to put together this survey. And Bethany really continuing with it to go, not just releasing information back to the group that you initially worked with at I guess it was the provost's office, but continuing that dialogue, I think is really wise. So thanks for doing this.
Oh, thank you for that comment. I hope I'm looking forward to working more with them. It's been a couple months now since we've last met, so hopefully we had a lot of good momentum, and then it slowed down just a little bit. So I'm hoping we can kind of re-engage with them and get that momentum back. I don't know where it's going to go, but folks seemed really engaged and excited as well, about trying to figure out overcome these challenges, I guess.
If I can pop in too, I was really distressed to not see Cornell Cows on the schools that districts are working with. So I want to make sure that we correct that moving forward. I loved the survey. It was super helpful to me to see. And as I was sitting here thinking, I was like, how have we not connected the boxes? I realized that about 5 years ago, we changed our natural resources major to an environmental sciences and sustainability major. And so districts may be familiar with our ag sciences, entomology, plant sciences programs, but may not be as familiar with the skill sets that are developed in our ESS major students, which is out of our Department of Natural Resources and the Environment. So I'm thinking from my perspective, if it's okay with the group, I'd love to add our department chair to the SWCC meeting on campus to talk more about workforce prep, because we're always looking for ways to help place our undergraduate students in this field in jobs in New York State. A lot of our students do come from New York State and are actively looking for things in New York when they graduate. So it'd be really fun to think about these. And we do run a lot of micro-credential programs that are targeted towards people who are not on a degree track, right? Between our dairy foods extension team, which is actively working with high school students to our FFA program. So I'm really excited about the conversation and happy to participate more, and apologizing to everybody for not feeling that they can reach out to CALS and post their jobs on our Handshake platform, because you absolutely can. We'd have a lot of students who'd be interested in it. And I'll send the follow-up link in the chat.
Thank you, Julie. And that's a really good suggestion to add to our July meeting. There have been a couple districts that have, is it through the nutrient management sphere program that they do an internship?
Yep, and Pro Dairy.
No, it's actually through Pro Dairy.
Okay. So there's been a couple districts that have worked with Pro Dairy for interns as well, and they've had a lot of great experience with that. So I don't know if there's a way to work in that to the workforce prep portion, but maybe that would be something that districts would want to take advantage of as well.
Yeah, that's a great idea. So DEC funds every year students, both from Cornell and non-Cornell schools, so it's open to all, who work and apply through Pro Dairy to do an internship over the summer to become, I may mix up the acronym slightly. You all know I'm not good with acronyms, but to become a clean water nutrient management program planner. Sorry, the CNMP, forgive me, planner. So I think it's 4 internships a year that are placed in different agribusinesses who are planners, just knowing that planning workforce certification is really important to have that workforce pipeline. So that's kind of that program that runs through Pro Dairy. It would be fun to think about something for districts.
And Julie, I understand they also have a engineering version of that to have interns with engineering firms. And I think there are some districts on the line that have participated in that.
I guess to keep in mind too, we did only get 23 districts respond to the survey. So I suppose there could be others out there that just didn't have the opportunity to respond to the survey that are, in fact, working with CALS and even other, colleges out there for these purposes too.
And Bethany, on that point, and the door is always open for feedback and ideas. And one point that you mentioned before, but just to underscore, in our conversations with SUNY administration, was the identification of either whatever the unit size, whether it's a college within a university or if it's an individual professor's program that has made a really good connection with a district, to identify those. And then those are great examples to provide throughout SUNY administration to show what works. And then we can build on that and identify more of those across other colleges across the state. And so building that database is exciting.
It's unfortunate they don't have, the counties used to have a program where districts would hire, and as well as others, would hire high school students to work for the summer. It was CETA, either CEDA or CETA, I forget which, but that was quite a few years ago. But I don't know where the funding came from for the county, whether it came from the state or federal or what, but that was a really good program because I know when I was with the district, we hired a couple people to work summers through that program. And again, it gave them an idea to see whether they wanted to pursue that, and some did and some didn't. And it also gave you an opportunity to see whether it's somebody you want to hire or not. So it'd be nice if someday a program like that could come back, because I thought that worked really well.
So I'll just
Any
add
other?
to,
Go ahead.
one more thing, Matt. I'll just add to, as we go forward, maybe with a, subsequent meeting with those folks at SUNY, you do want to also engage with our partners with the Conservation District Employees Association and the New York Association of Conservation Districts. Bring them, we're all in this together, and even the Natural Resource Conservation Service, we're a four-way partnership, and we all want to promote soil and water conservation districts and conservation, the career field in general. So I want to continue to move forward working with our partnership as well on this. So.
Yeah, I would hope that this survey would be helpful to the Employees Association to look over and think about, how they can use it, what they can get from it. I would think that'd be really beneficial for them.
Sure.
Any other questions or comments? If not, I think we are to the comments from the voting members and staff. Any updates? So I will start with the voting members. Darren, if you're still on the line, do you have anything?
It looks like he has signed off, Matt.
I thought maybe. Erica?
Nothing on my end other than welcome, Megan. Glad to have you here today.
Megan, do you have anything to report?
I don't, but I'll do my best in the future.
I don't have anything, no updates from our area. So I guess I will turn it over to you, Bethany, to run through the rest.
Sure. Why don't we keep it going in Albany? We can go around the table there, and then PJ and I can go, and then we'll do the folks on the line. Brian, you can start.
I can start. I don't have a whole lot, but I did want to give everybody a staffing update. We talked about it at the last meeting. We had approval to hire 2 additional staff people for the Soil and Water Committee, and happy to say that those announcements did go out. So one is Region 6, which is a new region for us in the Southeast. So a 6th regional coordinator, and the second position is a nutrient management / technical development type position. And those closed on Friday, but I haven't received packets of resumes yet from HR. Really excited to do so. And Greg and Bethany, myself, and others on our team will be looking at those resumes and selecting folks to interview, and hope to fill those positions soon. So pretty exciting stuff. We are growing our own capacity to help districts and help farmers and communities across the state. I think that's the most important thing I had to offer. Unless I'm forgetting something, Bethany, which I might be. But that's good for now.
No additional. Okay.
I'll share about, it's not a state committee program, but it's Ag Markets Program, quick update on the CAFO ENMP. Just wanted to share, this maybe doesn't mean much outside of the state framework for moving things forward, but we did get procurement record approval from the comptroller on that, so that puts the ball back in our court for our new attorney helping us out to be reviewing these. So next steps are council review and signatures by district and attorney general and comptroller. Again, we are projecting, again, hopefully this fall as executed contracts for CAFO ENMP. Keep your eye out for updates to that. I'll be the point person on that. That's it.
Melissa, nothing to report from me, thank you.
Nothing for me either.
I don't have anything else. Thank you.
That's all of us here in Albany.
All right, then I will go. So just wanted to mention that tomorrow, Brian and I will be presenting on soil and water conservation districts and state committee programs to the American Farm Bureau Federation meeting that's happening in Geneva. Not only does this bring together, New York Farm Bureau folks, but we'll be speaking to folks from all across the country, from many different states. A really great opportunity to show what soil and water districts are doing out there in New York, highlight, what the state is doing for soil and water conservation districts. So I'm looking forward to that opportunity. For the voting members specifically, I am working on developing a voting member binder that you guys will all be able to use to keep your agendas and minutes, and it's going to have some great background information in it for you. I had wanted to hand those out today, but they just weren't ready. So at future upcoming meetings, I will get you those binders, and hopefully we can use those just to have all of that information handy, make it easier for you guys as you're coming to meetings and patching in. So that is something that we are working on. And lastly, I just wanted to note that we've had a number of great opportunities recently to work with the Department of Ag and Markets press team to put together some press releases and to showcase, the work of soil and water conservation districts. Specifically, we put out or worked with our press team to put out a press release in celebration of Earth Day, but it was all focused on soil and water districts and the work that they're doing through the programs out there. The department also runs a monthly photo contest that, people can submit photos that feature, agriculture. There's different themes each month. And I think in response to the April contest, we had a lot of great photos come in from soil and water districts. So I just want to recognize that. And those were also featured in our department newsletter, the monthly harvest. So we're getting the word out there, trying to, about soil and water districts and really trying to recognize what you guys are doing out there. And lastly, I'll mention, and then maybe PJ, you can talk a little bit more. We are working on planning regional district managers meetings that are going to take place over the first couple weeks of June across the state. One in each of the 5, state committee regions. So I don't have all the specific dates in front of me, but we have sent out a few reminders to districts, and we are going to be sending out an agenda soon, so you guys can see what is on the list of topics to discuss. But I believe the deadline to RSVP is Friday. The 27th. Yep. Okay, so Friday for anybody who's on the line. That's it for me. PJ?
Great, thank you, Bethany. Thank you, everybody. Just a quick update here from Region 2. I've been busy with some grant closeouts recently and just wanted to say thank you to the districts for keeping everything so organized and ready when I get there to do the review. I certainly appreciate that and being able to sit down with the districts when we go through all those contracts. Also just been doing a lot of board meetings and trainings for performance measures for the board. So I just like to remind my districts and all the districts on the line, we're about halfway through the year, coming up on it. So make sure you take a look at your performance measures and see how things are going, because there's a significant amount of money this year associated with that. The Finger Lakes Round 2 cover crop, it's been a while since I've given everyone an update on that, but it is moving forward. We're hoping to get a lot of the remaining acres done this year and possibly close that out a little bit early. So very happy to be able to work with the districts and folks in Albany from our staff, as well as the funders for that at DEC, to get cover crops installed across the Finger Lakes region. I've been working on the conservation skills stormwater class with some of the CDEA folks. We're hoping to have a nice class somewhere in Onondaga County. So we're looking forward to doing an inspection class. It's been a while since we've done that, so it's certainly timely. Also working with DEC and the districts on updating the 4-hour course. Many of the districts on the line provide that course to their municipalities, developers, engineers, all sorts of people, code enforcement officers. And we're just making some updates, and just wanted to thank Julie Melanson from DEC and her staff for helping out, and the staff at Monroe County and Jim and his team up in Warren County, and many others who are helping us there as well. Let's see. A couple of things here. Just wanted to say I've been working with the AEAs and Bethany on a state committee program review checklist. So that's in the works, and look forward to getting that out there. If any districts would like some assistance and just taking a look at their programs and another set of eyes, we'd be happy to do that. And then, as Bethany said, just to finish up, the regional managers meetings are going to be held the first week or two of June. And please RSVP by this Friday, just because we need to have an accurate count for lunch. And please also, for the districts, make sure you invite your board members. It's a great opportunity to meet a performance measure, and for them to also see what's going on in the regions and hear some updates from the state staff. So that's all I have. Thank you.
Thanks, PJ. So now we'll go through our advisory members who are on the line, and then I will go through the staff. So let's see. CCE.
I don't have anything today, Bethany, just hoping that dries out a little bit.
Agreed. Thank you, Dan. Julie, do you have anything else you want to report today?
Yeah, I'm sorry, I've talked too much, but I do want to say that our soil health field day schedule is out, and I'll pop the link into the chat for 2025. So super excited that the program continues to grow with the districts. Encourage everybody. I've been to one myself. They're super fun. So I'll put that link in the chat for everybody so that you know. And I think we're still in the process of scheduling a few more, so there may be some more that are added to as we go on. And I also just wanted to share an agroforestry update. Our Cornell Small Farms team, I mentioned our agroforestry focus. You know, we're aware that the governor has this 25 million tree goal, and we know that's going to be really hard to meet with current tree stocks. And so our Small Farms program is actively working on a micro-credential course to be taught online that'll help people develop their own skills so that they can propagate and graft their own native tree plants to help in the overall endeavor. So forgive me, I don't know what time that'll be unveiled. I know we're working on it actively, and I'll be happy to provide an update for everybody later. But we just figured it was one way to help, because we're never going to have enough tree nursery stock quick enough. So this will help some kind of smaller scale entrepreneurs who are interested in potentially some districts learn these interesting skills, which is kind of fun. So that's it for me.
Thank you very much. How about our Conservation District Employees Association?
Hi everyone, Jessica here. So I just have a couple of things. I just want to say we've been gathering a bunch of feedback from the soil and water conservation districts across the state regarding DEC permitting. New York State Retirement and Civil Service. We're hoping to discuss more on these topics at our next meeting, which our next meeting is actually June 4th and 5th in Norwich. Additionally, some update or upcoming events we have the New York State Envirothon coming up May 28th and 29th at SUNY Cortland. If you are interested in volunteering, please sign up. It's appreciated and it's a lot of fun to volunteer there. We also have our CDEA golf tournament August 7th at Castlewood in Canastota, and more information for that will be to follow. But that is all I have, Bethany.
Thanks, Jessica. Appreciate it. And I did receive Caitlin's the written report as well, so we'll make sure to include that in the minutes as well. I know a couple folks have had to sign off, but do we have anybody from DEC on still?
Yeah, no update from me. Billy Capola here.
Very good. Thank you. How about Department of Health?
Hi, this is Paul. Couple of things. One is Morgan and I are going down to Putnam County tomorrow and doing a farm tour, and also getting a sense of what's going on in what's called the East of Hudson watershed for New York City. We've never been on a farm tour down there in all these years, and we always go to, the Delaware County, Greene County, those, much bigger farm areas, on our tours, and talk to those farmers regularly. But so this will be a great learning experience for us, just to find out what kind of ag is going on down in Putnam County, and those watersheds down there. Also, too, I'll mention that they have a real hard time keeping staff down there, basically because the cost of living is so high. So they go through a lot of staff turnover, which is unfortunate. But so we'll be meeting a lot of new staff that we haven't met before. One last thing I'd like to mention is that I'll be retiring on June 18th, will be my last day of work. And I'm not sure if there's to be a state committee meeting on the 17th or the 20-something of June. But anywho, I just want to say that this has been one of the favorite things I've done in my career is to work with you guys for these many years, and it's one thing that I will miss, So thanks for all the good times.
Well, congrats to you, Paul. I know since I've come on with the department, I've had the pleasure of working with you, and you've been a really engaged advisory member, and appreciate all of your input and years and the time that you have spent, at least in my interact with you, reviewing our Ag Now point source applications. So congratulations to you. We will be having, well, that's on the agenda to discuss, but the tentative date for our June meeting is the 17th. So.
Oh, wonderful.
You should come to it in person.
Yeah, I will. Yeah. Yeah. I'm sure Brian will bake a nice cake for me.
Yeah. Well, congratulations, my friend. My goodness, I was even before you had made that announcement, I was like, oh, geez, you know what? I haven't seen Paul in a while. So hopefully we can get him to come to a state committee meeting, maybe the one out in July. But yeah, congrats, Paul. Best wishes. And,
I'll certainly try to make it in person on the 17th. That would be great.
That would be wonderful.
Yeah, just in case you're calling sick that day, Paul. It's been great. I know I've known you for a number of years, and your involvement in the with the state committee, and I think it's been really helpful. I know I learned a lot from you. I hope others have as well, and it's been a great partnership.
Yeah, to just get a sense of how long I've been around. I remember when we were putting together the AEM program.
Yeah.
Yeah. All those early mornings.
How many rounds of funding, Paul, did you review? All of them.
A lot of them.
Yeah.
Yeah. You know, I stopped counting, just sort of, just like, I don't know who's counting the 25 million trees that are going to get planted.
Sounds like a great retirement gig.
Yeah.
Yeah. I'll join you in 2033. Keep counting.
Well, I planted 5 at my house, Paul, so.
I'm up a few hundred. Congratulations, Paul.
Yeah.
Thank you for that report. NRCS, anybody still on the line from NRCS? Okay, so moving on, I'll do just kind of rundown roll call of some staff who are on the line. If you guys have a report, feel free to share. Greg Albrecht.
Bethany, thanks. First off, I just want to extend a welcome and thank you to Megan for your investment in time and effort in this committee. Really, really great to have you. The other point was May 15th has come and gone, and that was a deadline for the 2025 AEM Leopold Conservation Award applications. And thanks to all the districts and the farmers that participated in that and all the work that they have to do to, be at that level to even consider an application. And so we have 9 applications from across the state submitted by 8 soil and water conservation districts that will be working with Lance Irving from the Sand County Foundation to review in the coming days and weeks here. So stay tuned on that. And big thank you to Chastity Miller and Judy Luttrell on our division and state committee staff for all the work they do to organize that. Last one, and this is definitely a stay tuned. While we have the tools to work through our AIM programs, and we've made specific language within our RFPs and program and contract policies like an AIM base to work on farms in urban settings, there's opportunity to advance. And districts around the state have been doing that with, what tools they have and what tools we have within the AIM framework, and have met recently this late winter and spring to say, hey, let's up our game and make some more specific AIM tools, tier 1, tier 2 environmental assessments, tier 3 planning protocols, perhaps BMP systems in our catalog that are specifically tailored to urban agriculture. So that committee of soil and water districts organized a call and invited some state committee staff to it. And that is formally underway, and really appreciate that sort of experienced base expertise that's going into the advancement of those AEM tier tools. So more to come on that, and just a thanks to the districts who are really leading that effort. Thanks, Bethany.
Thank you, Greg. Ben, do you have an update for today?
Similar to what PJ had mentioned, a lot of closeouts in the process, working with districts on that, attending board meetings, delivering district law and other trainings. Again, I think I've said it before, but we're working on getting somewhere between 1 and 5 new districts into the AEM program that haven't participated in the past or in a while. So that's been taking up a decent amount of my time, lots of phone calls, board conversations, just to try and gauge the interest of those districts and work with them to start filling out the paperwork that's required, their action plans, and to get a resolution passed by the board by that July 1st due date for that program. So it's been real fun having those conversations and working with, like I said, boards and staffs to, like I said, just explain the program, see where they're at and how much interest and ability they'll have to participate in that program. So I'm sure that will continue to be a focus of my time here in the next couple months before that deadline. But besides that, a little bit of state aid stuff here or there. Still wrapping up the final Part B reviews. I should have that done in the next week or two. Yeah, glad to see that increase in the EPF up to 18 million, a little bit more money going to the Part C performance measures for next year. But that's about it from me.
Thanks, Ben. That actually reminded me, there was one last thing that I wanted to just update folks on, and that is the status of our state committee AEM annual report for 2024. That is currently going through the review process at the department. Again, working with our press team to review that, and we're nearly there. Once we get those approvals, then we can move forward with printing and getting that out to everybody. So hopefully on target for my June date. So thank you. Okay, Ron.
I was able to be part of that review, and I just have to say it's an excellent report. I can't wait for it to be published.
Me too.
Great job on that, Bethany.
Thank you. I know Ron Bush had to step off, but he did put in the chat that there were no updates. Brendan, Jordan, do you have anything you want to share today?
Nothing to report today. Thanks, Bethany.
Thank you. I believe Victor also had to step off. That leaves Chaz.
Hey guys, so things are going exciting here. We have round 18 is under not development, but undergoing. Everybody's constructing and getting things done, hopefully. Round 19 has been kicked off officially May 1st. It's out there. We had the webinar just a few days last week. And that's gone out. So I've actually started seeing some action plans and even a strategy come in. So districts are working really hard and doing a great job. I see lots of outreach projects going on, planning for outdoor events and workshops, fairs, and a lot of really neat stuff that they're starting to pull through. So we're plugging through and lots of questions, and it's keeping us all pretty busy. So pretty exciting. Hoping for some warmer weather someday. Dry, warmer weather. Let's be specific. So we'll see how it goes. But that's it for me, I think.
Thanks, Chaz. I also just wanted to note, one of our staff members is not present at the meeting today. Tyler Knapp, who's our watershed programs coordinator, he and his wife just welcomed their second little boy. So I just want to kind of publicly say congratulations to the Knapp family.
I don't know about this
All right.
reaction.
Yeah. So that wraps up our staff reports. Are there any soil and water conservation districts on the line that would like to come off of mute and share a report?
Hey, Bethany, this is Wendy Walsh.
Hi, Wendy.
Good morning, everyone. I just wanted to briefly mention that the Upper Susquehanna Commission has saved the date out there for our annual watershed forum. It's going to be October 2nd, and we're going to be holding it at the Binghamton University campus. They're great in hosting us for the last few events, so we're going to be there once again. We're working on topics and keynote speakers, but if anybody's interested or has input for us, we're more than welcome to hear that. But we would hope to see people there from this group.
Thanks, Wendy. Just your audio went a little soft there, so just make sure I got the information down. The date for the annual watershed forum is October 2nd at Binghamton University.
Correct.
Awesome.
We're just
Another great example of working with university.
Yeah, we're just in the save the date phase, so I'll get that out so you can distribute it.
Perfect. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Any other conservation district on the line? Any members of the public have a report to share? Okay, hearing none, Matt, I think that concludes that portion of the agenda.
Okay, next meeting is June 17th. Hopefully that works out for everyone. And we're an hour ahead of time. We had some good
Yeah,
discussion
we
and covered a lot of
cruised through.
topics and still finished an hour ahead, so that's good.
Bethany, you buffered the agenda, didn't you?
Well, you never know. It's so hard to plan for these things, but
No, that's good. Better.
yeah, I feel like it's better to plan for a longer time and then give people some time back in their day.
That's right.
I don't know.
Any other questions, comments, discussion? If not, we will adjourn.
Thanks all.
Welcome, Megan. Great to have you. Take care.
Thanks, everybody.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Bye.
Have a great day, everyone.
Len said goodbye.
And bye, Glenn. Bye, Jake.
Bye. Bye, Brian.